Hello, welcome to our Friday evening yin class. I'm Erin. We are working with the third chakra today, the solar plexus. This is the seat of your self-esteem and personal power and willfulness to do and to act. So we're gonna work on activating and balancing those things for ourselves. So that said, we'll get started tonight in extended child's pose, with or without props. If you want to build up a bolster with your blankets, feel free to go ahead and do that. With making a tall support lengthwise on your mat. And then moving towards knees wide, toes coming together to meet. Upper body extended out long on the mat. Arms out long. And the forehead or either cheek can come to connect to the ground or to your support. We'll just bring the attention inward and start to focus on the breath. Feeling the belly dropping in between the legs on your inhales, and then releasing up towards the spine on your exhales. Allowing the heart to melt towards the floor. Starting to consciously slow the breath down. If it helps you to do that, maybe inhaling to a count of 4 and exhaling to a count of 4. Noticing where the body connects to the earth. And forearms, palms of the hands and fingertips, tops of the shins and feet. If you have taken one cheek to the ground, you can switch sides. off of why you chose to come to your mat today. And keeping that intention with you as you move through practice. Feeling the lengthening in the lower back. Take one more full breath in this shape. And then on an inhale, start to gently rise up to a tabletop position. Taking it slow. And we'll slide any props out of the way. From here, we'll drop down to the elbows. And then send the feet back towards the back of the mat. And bring the hips and belly down to the ground, coming into a Sphinx pose. We'll inhale here, opening the chest. Exhale to release the elbows out from under you and let the whole chest come down to the ground. Inhale to lift the chest, lift the gaze, baby cobra. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift, little to no weight in the hands and forearms. You can keep them grounded if you want. And exhale to lower. And let's just move through a few more flows of our baby cobra. Keeping the tops of the feet pressed into the ground here. One more. And then our next inhale as we rise, we'll hold here, coming back to Sphinx. So regrounding the forearms and palms underneath the shoulders. Option to stay right here in a traditional Sphinx. Or take a more restorative version with a block underneath the forehead. Just listening to whatever your body is calling for today. And take one more full round of breath in our Sphinx. And if you decided to use a prop, we'll remove that from underneath the forehead. Sliding palms back underneath the shoulders. Inhale to press up through tabletop and cross at the ankles. Exhaling to come back to our sits bones. We'll bring legs out in front of us. Knees bent, soles of the feet planted on the ground. About not too far out, kind of just a comfortable distance away from the hips. And then we'll plant palms of the hands right underneath the shoulders behind us. Fingertips will face towards our hips. From here on an inhale, we're going to press into palms, press into heels, and lift hips up towards the sky, reverse tabletop. Exhale to lower hips back down. And from here, lifting arms up, fingertips coming forward for boat pose. Option to stay here or lift the feet. One full breath here. Exhale, we'll replant hands, replant feet. Inhale, reverse tabletop. Exhale, lower to boat pose. Your version. One inhale and exhale here. And then planting hands and feet back down to the ground. Inhale to reverse tabletop. Exhale to boat pose. Continue with this. We'll do 2 more rounds on our own breath. Making our movements slow and intentional. And after your second round of boat pose, we'll meet back with hands and feet planted on the ground. And then we'll send feet or legs out long, finding a tall seat. And we can begin by just finding both sits bones firmly grounded into the earth. And finding a nice long spine, a tall seat, and if that means bringing a gentle bend into the knees, then I encourage you to do that. And if you have got a little bend in the knees, maybe you want to bring a support underneath. We'll be moving into seated forward fold. So, using your props in any way you would like. Finding that tall seat. We'll inhale and then exhale to start to hinge from the hips to fold over the legs. And then here, if you want to set up some props to support the forehead, go ahead and do that. Or you can just allow the head to hang, letting its weight deepen the opening through the backs of the legs. Wherever you are, as you found your version of forward fold. Coming back to the breath again. And again, if it helps to create that length and depth, using a count of 4 on your inhale and a count of 4 on your exhale as a guide. And we'll take 2 more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, we'll slowly walk hands back in towards the hips. Finding that tall seat one more time. And then exhale to let go of the legs. Remove that blanket or any other props from underneath the body. And then we'll recross at the ankles, rock back forward to all fours. Finding that neutral tabletop. And an inhale, we'll sweep right fingertips up towards the sky. And then take a few big circles with that right arm. And this open twist. Reversing direction. Next time that right arm sweeps up towards the sky, we'll inhale to hold, and then exhale to thread right arm through left for thread the needle, bringing that right shoulder, right ear down to the mat. Letting gravity melt open the right shoulder blade and right side of the neck. Left arm can stay planted. Maybe move fingertips up overhead. Or take a bind, wrapping it around the back of the waist and reaching for the right thigh. Take 2 more breaths on this side. And if you've taken any variation with that top arm, we'll replant the palm. Inhale to sweep right arm back up towards the sky. And then exhale back to tabletop. Resetting for a moment. And then on an inhale, sweeping left fingertips up towards the sky and taking some big circles with that left arm. One direction, and then the other. Next inhale, we'll reach back up towards the ceiling. And then exhale to thread left arm through, coming into thread the needle, setting up the second side, and choosing a variation with the top arm if you want. Take 2 more breaths on this side. And then undoing any variation with the top arm, replanting the palm. We'll inhale back to our open twist, left fingertips up, and then exhale back to tabletop. From here, we'll grab our props one more time. Maybe one folded up blanket and a block on the low setting or medium. I guess you can play around with it. Starting in our tabletop, we'll be kind of tabletopped over a folded blanket with the block out in front of us. We're going to move into puppy dog pose, which is kind of a halfway low version of down dog. So bringing the knees back just a little bit. And then exhale, we'll send the hips back, keeping them just about over the knees. And then bringing the chest to connect to our blanket, maybe resting the forehead on the block, or bringing it all the way down to the ground if that's accessible for you. And play around with the height of your folded blanket as well if you want to feel that connection between the heart and the ground. Once you've found a setup that works for you, settling in, retuning the breath, coming back to that 4-4 count. This is a really wonderful posture as it combines the lengthening of the spine of down dog with the grounding of child's pose. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath. And then your next inhale lifts you up to tabletop. Then exhale, recross the feet, coming back to our sits bones. And if you want, you may want a folded blanket under the hips as an option here. Our next shape. With our crossed legs, we're going to, whichever leg is in front naturally, we're going to bring that foot up and over the opposite knee, coming into our seated Lord of the Fishes style legs. You can stay here. You can straighten the bottom leg if that makes it a little more accessible for you. Having the hips lifted up can also make this shape a little more accessible for those of us with tight hips. And then once you found your lower body variation, we'll inhale both arms up overhead. And then exhale to twist towards the top leg, planting our back palm at the base of the spine, and then either wrapping or hooking that opposite arm around the top leg. Inhaling to lift through the crown of the head, and exhaling to ever so gently deepen the twist. And letting the twist come from the abdomen and from the strength of the core rather than using the arms to wrench ourselves around. Maybe gaze starts to drift over towards the back shoulder. Taking another full breath on this side. And on an inhale, we'll come back through center, untwisting fingertips, reach up. And then exhale to plant palms, untwist the legs, send them out long. You give them a little shake, rock out the hips. Then we'll set up the second side, so recrossing our legs the awkward way, and then bringing that top foot over the bottom knee, planting the sole of the foot, finding your setup. And then we'll inhale, arms up overhead, and exhale to twist over towards the top leg, planting that back palm or fingertips to support the spine. And then just resting that elbow or forearm or hand on the top knee. Don't need to be pulling or tugging or forcing ourselves into a twist. It's just there to give us a little bit of extra support. Inhaling to lift the chest, lift the crown of the head, and then exhaling to ease into the twist. Maybe starting to track the gaze back over the shoulder. And just observing the sensations that come with this shape. And observing the mental activity that comes up throughout our practice, as it always does. Letting the core of the body be the power for this twist. We'll take one more inhale and exhale. And then an inhale on, twisting, bringing fingertips back up towards the sky. And then exhaling to plant palms, uncross the legs, shake them out. Let all of that go in the hips. And from here, we'll roll onto our backs. You might want to keep your props close by. And once we're laid down along the spine, we'll bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees fall out wide, setting up a Supta Baddha Konasana. If you want some supports under the knees or a little bit of lift in the upper body, feel free to get your props set up now. Otherwise, choosing a variation with the arms, you can just allow them to fall out long alongside the upper body. Maybe they rest on the belly or chest or come up overhead. But just doing whatever feels natural. I invite you to close the eyes here. Once again, tuning into the breath. Maybe using that 4-4 count to help you slow down, deepen, and smooth out the inhales and exhales. Feeling the belly rise and fall. Noticing where the body connects to the earth. welcome to stay in this shape as long as you like. You can stay here for the rest of class if this feels good to you. And if not, start to make your way towards any final resting shape. And this is also an opportunity to take any other postures your body might be calling for today. Get any other last bits of movement out. Before settling into a final Shavasana. And once you get there, closing the eyes. And slowly allowing the body to fully release, let go. Allowing yourself to just be held up by the earth. Starting to bring some depth back into the breath. Drawing inhales all the way into the belly and exhaling fully. Waking up the body with some small movements in the fingers and toes. And rocking the head side to side, rolling out wrists and ankles. And then inhaling to reach arms and legs out long, full body stretch. Exhale to roll to either side, curling up into a little ball, allowing the head to rest on your bent arm, and keeping the eyes closed. Gently press back up to a seated position. Letting the palms rest on the body. Exhaling all the air out of your lungs. And drawing a deep inhale through the nose. The deepest breath you've taken all day. Holding it at the top. And then exhaling out the mouth. Audible sigh. We'll bring palms to cup over the eyes and then gently blink them open. Before bringing hands to heart center. Moment of gratitude for taking some time out of our day for our practice and for the circumstances in our lives that allow us to do this. We'll inhale, thumbs to third eye center, and exhale to bow forward. Namaste. All right. Happy Friday night. Have a great weekend. I'll see you all later. Bye.